Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Chassidus in the Morning, 15 minutes to change our lives. We're learning Kuntres Umayan. We're up to Maimer base, Parak base. Before we start, we're just going to give some tzedakah. And this share is up for sponsorship. If anyone wants to sponsor. And I'm Hashem to the learning that we're doing. And really, I've been thinking about it. When we learn this, this is really it's a war. We're learning how to wage war within ourselves. And Mitzvah Hashem, through us waging our war and learning Torah, should give the schus of the United Yisrael and the soldiers and the people that are captive should come home safely and easily and quickly. And God, the job should get done in the fullest manner, that the whole eyes of the world will see how Hamas is no more. Okay, so in the second Maimer, we started in Parak Aleph. We talked about basically that there's different types of nefesh bahamis, different strengths. Some people's nefesh bahamis just wants everything and it just goes wild. It needs it. It needs everything. And then some people it's more and more tame. And also we said together with that even if it's tame, if you feed the nefesh bahamis, it gets stronger. It could be by nature, it doesn't really need these things. But you feed it, by nature, I don't really need to eat whatever junk food. But if I keep on feeding myself, then it becomes more, and I need more of it. Whereas if we control ourselves and we work on what we do, and what we see, what we hear, what we say, what we intake, and we make sure, and we try, it's not 100%, but we try to push ourselves in the right direction and say, hey, is this beneficial for me? Should I be doing this now? Should I be saying this? Should I be eating this? Should I be thinking this? Can I turn that a little bit? And maybe I'll try not to. Let me at least hold back. At least I should hold back for 5 minutes, for 1 minute. So when we do that, we weaken nefesh bahamis, we strengthen nefesh l'kis. And the last thing we said also is that another issue that nefesh bahamis does, it convinces us that even though we're doing something wrong, we're still good. Still Jewish. I'm still Jewish. And like we said yesterday, a Jew by nature doesn't want to separate themselves. And we see b'muchash, we see very clearly in these days, with everything that's going on in Eretz Yisrael, how inspired the Jewish people are as a whole. Before this whole war broke out, the fighting in Eretz Yisrael amongst themselves, it was crazy, and people were arguing, and they said, I heard, I don't know if it's actually true, but they said it was getting to a point it was going to be a civil war, that they were arguing about all these different little things, about the laws being changed. And he brought us all together. And because by nature, Yid, and not just together, inspired, because by nature, Yid doesn't want to separate himself from Hashem. But the Yetzer Hara comes and fools us into thinking, I can do an Avera, I can go against Hashem's will, and I'm not separated. And like we said before, it doesn't mean you're cut off from Hashem, chas v'shalom, but just like in a relationship between a parent and a child, if a child's going to say, I'm going to ignore my parents, I'm going to do whatever I want and not listen to them, your parents aren't going to be happy with you. Are they still your parents? Of course they're your parents. And if chas v'shalom something dangerous happens, will they come and hug you and care for you? Of course they will. But it doesn't mean they're going to be happy with what you're doing at the time when it's negative. That's what we're saying. So now, and today we're going to start talking about where the life force comes from of everything, and realizing that when we do something wrong, where's the life force coming from and where it should be coming from. Parak base. Bemes, in truth, calls there who Mishtus Yetzer Shemateyu Umachase Al Emes. All this is coming from the fact that Yetzer Hara fools us, and it hovers over the truth. Like we said, we're going to do something wrong, and he says, and it's still going to be good. Hashem Yishmeinu is that Hashem should guide us in such things. The Hinde Ma Shemar Eloi Mesisay Mitoy Vadavrahu. This that he shows to the person, and he turns him away. The Yetzer Hara turns us away from this thing. That's proper and right. The truth is that being that it's something that is forbidden, it is literal death and bad. Going against Hashem, doing something Hashem doesn't want, it's really bad. Now, of course, I have to preface, none of this is coming to make you feel bad. It's coming to tell you the truth. It's an important part of life that we have to know what's true. Even sometimes the truth hurts. But knowing the truth is not there to put us down. It's to make us realize what's true and ask ourselves, how can I get closer to the truth? And that's what we're saying. It's like there's a famous story of the Rebbe. You see, there's a video of it, that a guy was from Brazil and he was dealing with like something like illegal. I don't know what it is, like a business or something. And it was legal. And he asked the Rebbe, how do I get out of it? And the Rebbe said to him, you should slowly find ways how to. He's like, he didn't know what to do with it. It seemed like in the country at the time, it wasn't so bad. And the Rebbe said, you should figure out how to slowly get out of that and go into the proper path. He didn't say, cut it off, stop it, never again. He said, slowly, you should slowly get out of it. And so to here, recognizing the truth, it should never put us down. And if we does, that comes from the Yetzer Hara. But what it should do is realize, hey, am I not holding that? If I'm not, what can I do to take steps to move forward in that direction? Yeah, just it's a general, we have to always have it in the back of our mind. And a general reminder that if any time we learn this or anything that we put ourselves down because of it, that's not, we missed the point. Like it says in the Varim, behold, I give to you in front of you today the life, and the good, and the death and the bad. Meaning there's a choice in life. We do the right thing, which is good, and it gives life, or we do the bad thing, which is bad and death. And the Yetzer Hara causes us to descend and to lose our connection with our neshama, and bring us down to the lowest of levels. In the place of klippa and sitra achra. From the things that are totally forbidden. We're not even talking about, like in the first Maimon, we talked about things that are permissible, that could be used out for the wrong, it's permissible, but we use it in the wrong way. Here we're talking something that we can't use, it's forbidden, and we do it. And when we do that unfortunately, the reality is, it pulls us down into a place of mavis and ra, death and bad. And even more than these things. I explained at length in Tanya. Because behold, a clip is because the clip and the also receive their life force and their existence from the words of Hashem and the breath of His mouth that Hashem breathes and then He causes things to exist, as we learned in Tanya. So everything has that. Everything exists because Hashem making it exist. But this is on a low level and concealment of Hashem's countenance. It's not Hashem showing Himself creating. It's much more concealed. And therefore they called other gods. Why are they called other gods? Because where they get their life force is from, not from the pnimis aras, not from what Hashem really wants to give, but He has to give. It's like one example is given that a king has a table and he has all this food, he has a whole people that he's feeding, and then there's the leftovers that go on the floor, and the animals also eat. And this is the klippa and the sitracha. That's how we receive it from there, like the animals on the floor eating. But they get it from the acharaim kedusha, the behind part of kedusha. What does it mean? The hind part of kedusha. It's like someone giving someone to his enemy. It's not that he wants to give, but I have to give for whatever reason. Simple example you can see, unfortunately, in the case of Eretz Yisrael and Gaza, that they have all these rules. They used to be, that sounds like they're going to change, but used to be that the Israelis are the ones supplying them with all the food and water and the gas and electricity, which is crazy to think about. But this is the craziness of El Mahaza Sheker, that the Israelis were giving them, or now in the war, that they're trying to make ceasefires so they can bring more food and water and things, but it's the enemy. So yeah, people argue the citizens, the simple people, they're not the enemy, but it's Hamas. Whatever, it's a different discussion. But when you're giving, you don't give what you want to give. You have to give. So it comes la'achayat. It's very, we all understand that it's not giving with a full heart. It's giving like uncomfortably. Well, in this case, like we're saying, like behind you, just take it. Because you turn your face from him because you don't like him. That's how Hashem gives a life force to all these things, to all these negative things. The klippa, sitracha, shows kibus temeis. So to abide by Hashem, that was the mashal of the person. By Hashem, you have the pnimis haratzin elyon, the inner desire that Hashem has. The chefta amitin is true desire. Asher chavet Hashem lahashpia chayus l'chol hakar. Hashem wants to give. Hashem is a giver, and He wants to give to all the people that are close to Him. How, of course, meaning close to Him, meaning through doing Torah mitzvahs. Misitra kedusha, from the side of kedusha. Aval sitra achra, whereas the sitra achra, the hatuma, and the impurity, he tayvos Hashem asher sana. This is the disgusting Hashem hates. He doesn't like these things. Hashem doesn't give from the inner desire that He gives. Could you imagine Hashem giving from the desire and how much He wants to give to someone that He likes and He cares for? How amazing that would feel, versus giving to someone that He hates. He doesn't have a choice to give. You can imagine with a friendship. Imagine you had someone, a friend that you're giving, you love them, and you give them the whole heart with a smile, and it's the happiest thing, the best feeling, versus giving to someone that you don't want to give. They're your enemy, but you don't have a choice for whatever reason, so you give. What difference would be? And He doesn't give to the enemy, to the shoshikivus temeis and the klippa and all these things from the pnimis haratzon and his true desire. That God forbid that he cares for. But it's like He's giving, behind him, not that He wants to. Like He says in the brackets, only to punish the Rishoyim. But tzaddikim, give good reward for the tzaddikim. They subjugate the sitra achra. And Hashem wants to give to the tzaddikim, meaning Hashem wants to give to the people that connect with Torah mitzvahs, the people that now. We're not talking about people that don't know any better. We're talking about us. We're here, Baruch Hashem, we're learning Chassidus. We understand a little bit. And what we have to realize, what the Rebbe Shab is teaching us, is that when it comes to giving, that when we come and we say to ourselves, whatever it is, let's say on Shabbos, my nail is annoying me, I want to pull it off. So we say to ourselves, when you do that, you don't connect to Hashem as He wants to give with His whole heart and He loves, but you're causing Hashem to give from like the hind part to His enemy. Is that what I want to get from? Is that what I want to do things? And that's what we're saying. Well, being shbechinas pnimis panim deratan elyoin ein sheir klal al sitra achron, being that the inner ratzin doesn't have rulership over, doesn't settle itself on the sitra achron. And even the acharayim, even the hind part that He gives to these things, to the negative forces, it's not literally included within them, but it just encompasses it from above. It's not even reaches there fully. It gives them enough to survive, and then that's why they exist, and that's why we see it, and then we have clip on sitra. But the way they're giving is so not giving happily. And even that, it's not really internalizing within it, because it just doesn't want it this way. And that's why it's the source of death and impurity. Hashem should guide us. Because the true life, because the true life is elikus, is godliness, which is the God of life. Like it says in Yirmiyah, Hashem is the God of truth. He is the God of life. Perush liyosh hu elikim emes, being He's the God of truth. Hare hu elikim chayim. Therefore, He's the God of life. Life and truth go together. And Hashem is the source of life. And we want to connect ourselves. We want to recognize and connect ourselves to this, to the truth, to life. Tomorrow we'll Hashem finish. Tomorrow we will finish off this part. So what we're learning today is a farbrengen that we should have in our heads. That meaning, like when you look at a tayvos, whatever it is, a tayvos for 7-layer cheesecake. So one way to look at it is like, this is an amazing, yummy, this is good. That's what our Nefesh Bahamis sees. The other way is say, hey, well, that's a bad example because that's kosher. But let's say it's something non-kosher, something that's also to do that we know if we think about it for a second, it's also to do. The pulling of the nails in Shabbos. We know it's also to do on Shabbos. You can't pull your nail, you can't rip it off. But it's like annoying me. Yeah? And it annoys us. I really want to get rid of it. So we can say to ourselves, and this is all the frame we have now to realize it then, we say to ourselves, hey, the life force that goes into that is from Hashem's hind part. He doesn't really want to give and doesn't really even internalize in it. That's marvelous. But if I do a mitzvah and I don't do this and I hold myself back, I get the biggest hug from Hashem, and Hashem loves the fact that He created me, and He gives the life force from the best place possible. And that's what we're recognizing here. That's what the Rebbe Rashab is teaching us. And Mitzvah Hashem, when we see this and makes the challenge easier. Now, of course, at the point when you're like halfway pulling it off, it's going to be hard to have this farbrengen. That's why the farbrengen has to happen now, and that's what we learn now. And that's the point of this learning. We learn all these things, and it changes our mindset, so we start to see things differently. And then when it comes to that challenge, it changes. And I'll tell you, I'll be honest that I noticed a lot of these things we've been learning. Whatever it is, you're tired of this and that, and the farbrengens that we've been learning here has been happening in my head. So Mitzvah Hashem, by all of us, we should have these farbrengens, and it should help us, and we should change our lives for the good, and through us. And this is a war. This is literally a war that's going on within us. Mitzvah Hashem, us battling our war, help the Yidden in Eretz Yisrael with their war, and ultimately, Mashiach should come. Have an amazing day. Thank you for joining.